Happy Juneteenth.
Hello, I'm Kevin Cohee, Chairman and CEO of OneUnited Bank, the largest Black-owned bank in America.
And hi, I'm Teri Williams, President and COO, and together we're the owners of OneUnited Bank. We're here today to celebrate Juneteenth and to focus on our financial freedom and success. Please follow us on Facebook at OneUnited Bank or on Instagram and Twitter at OneUnited. And if you have any questions, put them in the comment section and we'll answer them. So Kevin,
Yeah.
let's begin. What is OneUnited Bank?
OneUnited Bank is an authentically Black-owned financial institution, as distinguished from an institution that's managed by Black people, as distinguished from an institution that operates in communities that Black banks live in. It is an authentically Black-owned company. So that's number one. It's completely and totally authentic. Number two, it's very impactful. I would argue that OneUnited Bank has more impact on Black America than any other company, period. It affects Black Americans on a national basis. The company has customers in all 50 states, and it influences Black people throughout America. Now, from a technical standpoint, what I would tell you is it's a FDIC insured commercial bank. That means any deposits that you put into the bank are guaranteed by the federal government. It's also designated by the U.S. Department of Treasury as a Community Development Financial Institution, a CDFI, which means that over 60% of our business is done in low to moderate income communities and are to targeted ethnic groups. In our case, that targeted ethnic group is Black Americans. So that's what OneUnited Bank is in a nutshell.
And why are we so important? What's critically important about us and our history?
It's all about the technology. OneUnited Bank really is a fintech. It's a financial technology company. We recognized over a decade ago that community banking, as we know it, is dead as disco. It's over. So in other words, 99% of banks don't have the ability to create financial technology-based products, nor to effectively distribute those financial technology products to their customers. And that's really critical in the case of Black Americans, because it would mean we're excluded from these new technology-driven financial products, which are very different from the last generation of banking products and services. You're now in a situation where your banking products and services aren't just something that provide a perfunctory function in your life. These services that use technology actually build net worth. And so if you don't have access to this modern set of financial services and products, things like peer-to-peer payment systems, things like, products that allow you to do things that you wouldn't otherwise do. And as the creator of many of these financial products, why don't you tell us a little bit about some of the stuff that your genius has created?
Well, no, you're absolutely right. We started investing in technology back in 1999. We launched our mobile banking in 2006, so we've been doing this for a long time. And we just launched, as you talk about, Cash Please, which is our short-term small dollar loan program that doesn't require a credit check. So we're able to offer this product that we know can replace payday lending. So there's no reason to go into a payday lender and have to spend like a 400% annual percentage rate on a loan that you only need to tide you over for a few months. We have that product in our app, and our customers can can access it. We also have our partnership with Lendistry to offer small business loans nationwide, SBA lending nationwide to our customers from $50,000 to $5 million. And so that's another way that we're using technology. And Lendistry is a black-led fintech that is one of very few companies in the country that can do SBA lending nationwide. So you're right. We have the ability to develop all of these products and services to offer them in our super app. And that's because we've been doing this for a long time. But we do more than banking products and services. We do advocacy as well.
Yeah, and that's a very important part of what we do. OneUnited Bank is 100% committed to creating true black power in society. We created the bank in large part to organize Black America and its allies so that we could channel our resources into making America a better place for us to live. And so we engage in activities such as working on closing the racial wealth gap, this whole business of Black American families having a net worth of $17,000 and white Americans having a net worth of $170,000 plus. That's just got to come to an end. And OneUnited Bank designs programs that work on a national basis to deal with those kind of challenges and problems. For instance, we recognize that one of the key elements, in addition to systemic racism, that drives the racial wealth gap is a commitment to financial literacy. And we work to make financial literacy a core value of Black America. As an example, of how we do that, we created the OneTransaction program, which Teri and team came together, created this program that there's a virtual financial literacy program that talks the black talk. We know how to take a topic like financial literacy and to make it sexy, to make it fun, to use the right kind of influencers to create the right kind of messages which can be communicated throughout our community as a way for us to grow and prosper. You want to talk about the OneTransaction program and what we're able to do there?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I want to say it was your idea because you recognize that even though the gap between Black and white America, as you said it, is very large, when you look at it for any individual family, it's one transaction. It's like one strategic transaction that you can take that will close that wealth gap for you and your family. So that one transaction could be buying a home. It could be home ownership. It could be owning a business. It could be, having savings and investments. It could be having a will. I mean, so many of our community dies without a will. It could be having life insurance. Life insurance is one of the cheapest ways if, someone in your family dies and leaves you enough money to close that gap. Or having an improved credit score. So we've identified these 6 transactions, and we want our community, everyone, to focus on one transaction to close the wealth gap for your family. And even though I did all the mechanism behind it, but the idea of it actually came from you. But there's something else you mentioned about advocacy that I think is important, because we're a bank that really does support social justice. I mean, we've supported Black Lives Matter like before it was even popular. We supported Colin Kaepernick and Take a Knee. We actually got the word out about the 1619 Project when it first came out. So we see that these movements, these social justice movements, need our support, and that is also a part of what we do. And another idea that we also did is Harriet Tubman.
Indeed. Black leaders have recognized, even before the end of slavery, the importance of us bringing our resources together to affect change. Banking is a unique instrument, it's a unique tool for being able to organize and scale. Technology has created a whole new set of opportunities. It's changed the political opportunities, the social opportunities, as well as the economic opportunities. And we have to recognize that as a people and understand the importance of using technology to create success. The example Teri's referring to is the work we did around Harriet Tubman. As some of you may remember, the government had decided it was going to put Harriet Tubman on the $20 bill. And then a new president came in and they changed their mind. So about the importance of putting Harriet Tubman on the $20 bill. Now for us, we were incensed because you can't deny black people have been contributing to the growth and development of this country since 1619, but yet we don't have any black people on any currency. A country's currency reflects its values, its cultures, its heroes. And what does that say about America if you have no black people on any money? So they were talked about doing it, then they changed their mind. And, frankly, we said that it's just not going to go down like that. And so what we did was we put Harriet Tubman on a debit card. And then we took it a step further. We had Harriet Tubman do what they call throw up the international sign for peace of love in sign language. But at that same time, there actually was a little bit later, a movie came out that some of you may know is called Black Panther. And that same sign is what they call the Wakanda salute. So we created that card. It was on TMZ. It was on Saturday Night Live. It was on in all of these modern culture-based shows, which created, amongst other things, tens of millions of tweets. Now, if you notice what happened when President Biden came in office, well, one of the first things he did was to decide to put Harriet Tubman back on the $20 bill. Now, did OneUnited Bank cause the United States government to do that? Look, I'm not going to say that, but I would say for sure we had a major role in it happening. And that's the role that a black-owned company can play that nobody else is going to play for you, is in standing up for your people.
Yeah. Well, and I think that serving as that trend-setting role, I mean, even, the murals, the black art that we put on our cards, or these programs, whether it's Cash Please or OneTransaction, what we know is that, the larger institutions are following, and it's only a matter of time before the programs that we offer are actually offered and should be offered by banks nationwide. I think that, the work we're doing with corporations is also going to be very helpful.
Well, it's important to understand that while we work with corporations, we're not controlled by corporations. Yeah. Nobody tells us what to do.
Yeah, that's true.
And
we select the corporations we want to work with.
Yes. And we have the ability to drive relationships with the Googles, the PayPals, the Salesforces, the Biogens, and to work with them in a way which we have as our agenda, promoting anti-racism, to help the corporations to use their vast resources to make systemic racism, to put systemic racism to an end, to understand that that there's no such thing as being a neutral in the battle over race. If you stand by while somebody puts their knee on my neck and chokes me to death, you aren't a neutral, you are in fact a racist. And so anti-racism is the key thing that we have to do in order to attain more opportunities, more civil rights in our society. To perfect our democracy requires anti-racism to be a core value of America.
And I think that, again, the work that we're doing and the corporations that we're working with that are really making that part of their culture and part of their stance, is really important. And so, again, I think we're leading that fight. We're also a specialist in Black America's finances. I mean, we've been doing this now for, we've owned this bank for almost over, actually, 25 years, and have done all kinds of financial services within our community. So we really understand Black America and our finances.
Well, that's right, and our customers are the heart of One United. What makes the brand work is our customers, and we have very smart customers, very technology engaged customers, and we have the heart of Black America. We have the celebrities, we have the religious leaders, we have the political leaders, and we have the people. And having an organization that has the money and has the people and understands technology is really what drives the importance of One United Bank. The support of all of you creates, that's what One United Bank is. It's all of our customers and our supporters coming together in a way where we could create change for the individual, as in actually being able to make you more money. We will make you richer, in addition to empowering Black people in our society.
I think we have shared who One United is. I think it would be helpful for us to share with our community what we think is happening now and what could be done to sort of move us forward. Since last Juneteenth, our economy has really changed a lot. We have high inflation, or higher inflation and high inflation. We have higher interest rates. Cryptocurrency, the value of cryptocurrency has gone down significantly. And although we're not, financial advisors, I want to say that we're not financial advisors, but we do have some thoughts. Like, what do you think, Kevin, that our community should be focused on in 2022?
Well, Teri, as we discussed numerous times, this is a critical inflection point in the history of all of America, but certainly in the history of Black America. We've been in this country since 1619. And you got to ask yourself, what's going on? What happened? What's changing the world so dramatically now in this time and place? Well, to give you a sense of it, you reflect on something like the Million Man March and how proud we are was with Dr. Martin Luther King and us and our allies went arm in arm and marched to Washington, D.C. And we got there and how wonderful it was. Well, think about it. One United Bank contacts 1 million people every day. And so that's how much our society has changed. And all these things you're looking at and we're dealing with and talking about right now, things like Juneteenth Day. What I want people to understand is Juneteenth Day, what's the big deal about it is it's a result. It's a result of an underlying phenomena that I want to talk about. When we talk about situations like the Ahmaud Arbery situation, terrible personal tragedy. But the significance of it within the context of Black history is the effect of Ahmaud Arbery dying, i.e., justice was attained when justice would simply not have been obtained. Since we got here in 1619, it was okay for some people to decide that their deputies chase an innocent Black man down, shoot him in broad daylight, and they did walk. Listen, they walked, but because of the effect of what I'm going to tell you about, you had a completely different outcome. Same thing with George Floyd. The significance of George Floyd, terrible personal tragedy, terrible, horrible thing. But within the context of our history, it's the effect, i.e., the effect of him dying was that the police were arrested. It's been okay since 1619 for police to kill innocent black man. What we have to understand is what's causing this. What is the underlying phenomena? And what I would say to you in a word is technology. Technology is what's driving all this change. Technology is what led to us finally starting to obtain civil rights. Technology, things like the video camera, things like social media, allow Black America and its allies to communicate in a way where we can affect society. We can affect corporations' decisions. We can affect government decisions. We can affect things that we never have had the ability to affect before, and that's the underlying phenomena. Technology is changing every aspect of our life, and it's gonna speed up, and it's critical that we understand this as we go from what they call the Internet 2.0 to the Internet 3.0. That's going to create economic opportunities that never existed before. We're now in the era where you can sell a product all over the world, and you don't even have to make it. That's how the world is shifting. That's how the opportunity is shifting, and that's how we have to understand we have to recreate our businesses. We can't be creating buggy whip businesses in a metaverse world. And so this opportunity, this unprecedented opportunity, it drives how we will fit into the world. How we fit from a political, social, and economic standpoint. Now, there is really good news. There was a study recently that came out that showed of all the ethnic groups, Black Americans were adopting financial technology at a faster rate. Now, think about that, the significance of that. For financial technology, Black people were adopting it at a faster rate. Now, what that means is we already talked about how financial technology allows for the creation of a whole new generation of financial services and products that will make you more wealthy. It's the knowledge and the utility of the products creates opportunities that we haven't before. And with Black people adopting financial technology at a faster rate, that means on a relative basis, we will make more progress as a people. So the thing is, we're getting it. We may not be able to articulate it, but it's critical that we understand the underlying phenomena. We understand what are effects and the significance of the effects, which will allow us to think about how more politically powerful you are if you can lay 10 million tweets on somebody. That's how you get somebody's attention, and that's the tool we have, and that's why it's very important for organizations like OneUnited Bank you have to have organizations with the money, with the heart and the nerve to be able to stand up for Black people and to use that power to drive change. So that's one really important opportunity set that we have that's going to continue to affect everything, and we have to understand technology and how it's changing the world. Another thing that's going on that I think is just one of the most amazing opportunities that's ever happened in the history of this country. There's a lady, you probably won't know her name. Her name is Sandra Thompson, and she was appointed the head of a government agency that regulates something called the GSEs, the government-sponsored enterprises. She's the head of something called FHFA, which regulates the GSEs, which means it can tell the GSEs what to do. Now, these companies, more known as Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, once the most profitable company in the country. The other one's the third most profitable company in the country. What these people do is they facilitate real estate transactions. And now you have a very brilliant black woman running the organization, and she's already announced a federal program that will create more opportunity for minorities to own real estate than anything has ever been than anything that's ever been created in our country. So it's going to be the opportunity to buy real estate that has never existed before, and so we all have to think about our real estate opportunity set, and what we could do is going to be opportunities in both single family, it's going to be opportunities in multifamilies. This is the time to make it happen. And then you have other black leaders starting to come in and understand this moment. People like Congresswoman Maxine Waters has just announced a program where she's going to put a bill forward that's going to create $150 billion worth of what is known as down payment assistance. So that's you're going to have easier criterion, and you're going to have access to money. And so this is the time for people to get their real estate game on. This is the time, because real estate, if you think about it, when you look at that racial wealth gap, that thing I talked to you about, the difference between 170 and 17, well, if you think about it, that's a single real estate transaction. I mean, this could put an end to the racial wealth gap. We can end it right now, cut it, done, it's over, it's a wrap. And so that's what I see as the second biggest opportunity.
Well, and in fact, the racial wealth gap actually was caused by real estate and them not allowing us to buy and get mortgages. So the fact that the GSEs and Maxine Waters are focused on increasing home ownership rates for Black America is really going to make a difference in terms of the wealth gap. In terms of, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I wanted to, that I talked a little bit about opportunities. I talked about technology and how technology's driving opportunity, and I talked about some more current event kind of things with what's happening with real estate opportunities. But we're also facing a lot of headwinds, we're facing a lot of challenges, and Miss Teri, among other things, is an economics genius as well. And that she actually her degree was from Brown University, was in economics. Why don't you talk a little bit to folks about some of these things, interest rates and recession and all this kind of stuff that you're hearing all the talk about?
We're definitely hearing a lot of talk, and it's actually real, that inflation is at sort of almost an all-time high. Interest rates are going up, and actually the Fed is going to continue to push interest rates up for the purpose of trying to reduce demand, which in turn the hope is will reduce inflation. What it may also do is it may cause a recession, which could result in people losing their job. I mean, we're already seeing it in some cases where, especially in the housing market, and we're talking about housing, because of higher interest rates and people are not able to afford as much in housing, there has been a decline in housing. And that's something for us to also be careful about. But, as you say, we really have two things that are butting heads. We do have higher inflation, we have interest rates, but we also have technology. And, because technology is able to overcome a lot of the challenges that we're seeing, it's unclear whether or not it'll be maybe what's called a soft landing and we won't have too bad a recession and we'll be able to bring inflation down, or whether or not it'll be a really, really difficult recession. At this point, we don't know, but we'll have to watch and see.
Okay, so to break it down a little bit more, inflation that's the inflation of the price for goods and services. So the thing we always talk about is gas and gas prices, because people see it. And so we're in a situation where prices are increasing. If prices continue to increase rapidly, that eventually creates a situation where people can't afford goods and services, and you have widespread lack of access to basic things like gas and food. If gas gets to be $25 a gallon, can you afford it?
Right.
And then who won't be able to afford it first? And so that's why this is very significant to low to moderate income people, and certainly to Black Americans. So we have this battle to stop these prices from going up. So as Teri said, so you have the government intervening by raising interest rates. And the idea to raise interest rates is what is it?
Yeah. So as the purpose of it is really to try to reduce demand, to make, and I'm going to use this example. Someone wants to buy a home, and it'll cost them, let's say, $600 a month for a mortgage. The rate goes up. It's now costing them $900 a month for the mortgage. So they could afford $600, they can't afford $900. Or they could afford $1,000, they can't afford $1,500. So because of that, they're saying, okay, I'm not going to be able to buy a home, or I'm not going to be able to trade up and buy a home. And the thing is, when people buy homes, that increases demand for other things. It's those of us that move. Even if you don't buy a home, even if you move, then you find yourself going out and having to buy, new curtains and new refrigerators. And so that increases demand. And so what the government is saying is we're going to increase interest rates, which is what the Fed is doing, because we're trying to drive down the demand, and the demand for housing being a big one, which will hopefully reduce demand for other things and bring inflation down. And the impact of that on us is that we just have to be very careful about how we spend our money, and we have to ensure that we invest in the things that Kevin talked about, which is technology, as well as look at all of these programs to help us buy homes, even in a really difficult market.
Right, and I would add then, as the interest rate start to rise, companies start to make less money.
Yes.
And as
Yes.
companies start to make less money, then they start to lay people off. They start to get rid of people as a way to preserve their profitability. Now, historically, Black folks, as we all know, were the last one hired and the first one fired. And so that leads to higher rates of unemployment in Black America quicker as you go into the recession. So as Black people, we have to be keenly aware of this economic phenomenon that's going on and what measures the government is taking to bring the economy in line, and to make sure that those measures don't result in disproportionate unemployment among Black folks or disproportionate number of Black businesses fail. Right. Which is what happened during the pandemic. Right. So we continue to monitor the economy carefully. We continue to make sure that our voice is heard as the government devises solutions to deal with this economic cycle, as folks would call it. Yeah. And then, what I want to make sure is not lost is this last point Teri made of technology is driving the creation of new jobs. Yeah. Okay, so this is where your choice of skill sets becomes critically important. Did you pick a set of skills that is consistent with a broader economic phenomenon that will give you opportunity as you move into the future? Right. And if it doesn't involve technology, it's probably you need to start to rethink what you're doing. So Teri, let's talk about OneUnited Bank and what's happened over the past year. I know we've done a lot of work to find out what our customers and prospective customers were thinking about. So give me a feedback on what's been going on in OneUnited Bank recently.
Well, there's quite a few things that I'm excited about based on getting feedback from our customers. One is that now our customers can use Chase Bank ATMs for free to withdraw funds. Our customers were looking for more ways to access their money, and so that was really a great thing for us to accomplish. We also introduced our super app. We don't just have an app, we got a super app. Yeah, we got a super app. And in the app, you can do more than check your balance. You can also, we have ways for you to add more money. We have rewards programs. We also have financial education. We have a news feed. I mean, it provides a lot of information. You can report a lost or stolen card. I mean, it's a super app. It has all these wonderful things. We have a money management tool that you can access and budget and check your spending. So it's really a great thing to add to our services. We also introduced the contest, a OneUnited Jingle contest where you can win $5,000. It's our summer promotion, and it's really fun. I mean, really a lot of talented, creative customers and supporters are coming up with these wonderful jingles, and so that's something that we introduced, and we're hiring.
How about that?
Yeah, so yes, exactly. So we're hiring in all three of our locations in Boston, Miami, and LA. And I say to everyone, go to oneunited.com/careers or refer family and friends because we're looking for really good people. So, those are some of the things that I'm excited about that we introduced this year. But what about you? What's something you're excited that we did this year?
Well, I think, as you know, the introduction of the Greenwood card was such a personal event for me. It carries on the legacy of my family going back to the 1850s and 1860s. For those of you who don't know, we introduced what we call the Greenwood card, and it's really in celebration of a community called Greenwood, which was in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and many people say it's the best example of a black community being built. It's a place where black people came together and created schools and theaters and stores and churches and were living in so many ways the traditional American dream. What I always say to people is the question you should ask yourself is why was the most successful black community of that time of all places, Tulsa, Oklahoma?
Yeah, why was Black Wall Street in Tulsa?
Exactly. Why wasn't it in Philadelphia or New York or Pittsburgh or some Chicago, some much bigger city? And the reason is because Oklahoma is where black people got the proverbial 40 acres and a mule. It's the only place where we actually got the land. As many of you know, there was a plan that when slavery ended, that all black folks were going to get 40 acres and a mule. I will tell you, had that happened, we wouldn't have any of the problems we had today. Because just think about all the land that would be in the hands of black Americans in all kind of amazing locations. So the failure to repay the debt that was owed to our people as a result of enslaving us is what has led directly to this country's legacy of systemic racism and all kind of challenges for black America. However, in Oklahoma, my great-great-grandfather, Charles Cohee, was the lead negotiator, actually, for black people in getting them the land. So he negotiated, he was part of the team that negotiated with the government to get the land. And that land was the foundation of the wealth that created the opportunity in Oklahoma. So for me, carrying on the legacy and it was really both my great-great-great-grandfather and his name was Charles Sr., and And Charles Jr., people more know Charles Jr., my great-great-grandfather, because, there's just, he was such a part of history, that to be able to carry on that legacy, carry on the fight for civil and economic rights for black people is something that is special to me.
Well, first of all, that story is amazing. That it's also amazing that today you're continuing that fight.
Yes.
I mean, one of the things that we could see was the importance of land ownership. And I always say to people, I don't care if you have to buy a hut. Become a homeowner, figure out a way to buy land because it is incredibly valuable and it's a source of power.
Yes, and family, as black people in this country, not just this country, but, black people, period. We because of being displaced, we haven't had the opportunity to have continuity of family.
Yeah.
And I think that, as we move into the future, that opportunity is available to all of us. And so I see just a tremendously bright future for America, and a big part of that future is going to be the success of Black Americans. And so I think we are on the edge of success. We're so close we can taste it. This is our time. We got to make it happen now. This is it. So this is the time for us all to put on our thinking caps, to become a part of companies like OneUnited. Together, we're stronger.
United, we're stronger.
We're OneUnited.
So, some parting thoughts, just wondering, just thinking of myself, I would say that please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I also want to thank our staff. Without them, this is not possible. I mean, we're here as the chairman and president, but we are a team. And I want to thank all of them for really helping us on this journey. And then what about you, Kevin? Any parting, I guess, thoughts? Or?
Yeah, well, I share your sentiment. It's all about team. It's impossible to do anything by yourself. For me, I use so many sports analogies, but I don't even consider myself to be on the field. I'm on the sideline coaching a team, and so it's really about the players. That's who determines whether you win or lose. It's the coach is basically everybody else's number one cheerleader. So I am thankful to all of our customers and supporters, and I'm thankful to our staff for all the hard work that the team does every day to make the company prosper. And I continue to see a very bright future for OneUnited, but also for Black America. And we really have to take advantage of this opportunity. It's unique, and we don't know how long it's going to be here. So let's make something happen out there.